It was amazing while we were together. Your new owner will take care of you. Interesting. Farewell. Also on this one, another goodbye. So, the question is, why is Riley selling his items? More importantly, why does he feel the need to share this with the social media? I mean, it's not like he's out here saying, hey guys, I'm selling so-and-so, let me know if you want to buy it. But this is what Riley had to say in the next post. Selling off items that you've worked so hard for so you can make your mortgage because of something you signed 2 years ago, it is absolutely wild. The entity straight up threw someone's character and good name under the bus for ratings. I'm not a perfect man, but I didn't deserve this. I signed and I have to take accountability for that, I guess. So we are still here talking about exactly what had gone down when he was on the show. Talking about how when he was on 90 Day Fiancé, they portrayed him to be the bad guy while they portrayed Violet to be the good person. When in reality, based on what Riley has told us before in the interview he did with me, he said that what we saw was not the full truth, and that when they were filming, they would pull them apart, and therefore they would try and actually instigate things, or did instigate things. So for example, there will be a time when these two, Violet and Riley, would actually have conversations together off camera, and they actually got on and actually made up with certain things. But the producers was not liking this because it was not good TV in their eyes. So therefore they would pull Violet away, and therefore, whisper a few things in her ears, pull Riley away and whisper a few things in his ears. And then after that, they would then proceed filming. And at that moment in time, that is when Violet would come in with whatever she said, while Riley was obviously thinking, what the hell was going on? I thought we was in good places. But either way though, when it came to the show, what happened? They portrayed Riley in the bad way throughout the whole season, so much that he was willing to break the NDA. But we will get into that in a second because there is more. Now, 10 hours later on, as I woke up, this is what I saw. Riley continued by saying, selling off items to make sure you have an extra 3 months of payments and being flat broke are two separate things, folks. I've been social media silent for months, and I was just pissed off today because Sharp could have helped while all this was going down over a year ago. I begging them, but they wouldn't even write a letter to the bosses saying that the editing was for entertainment purposes, and what was being broadcasted didn't fully reflect the true story. But they should do call when you break the NDA, and it might F up their money. Now, listen, first thing I'm going to acknowledge here is that he's more than happy to take accountability, but he does say here that I take accountability for that, I guess. And then also on this one, he does say I own it. He also says I did it myself. So the first thing is this, he's taking accountability, but that's something that we've known him to do anyway. And also on top of that, what he's saying is something that we have known already as well. But here's the thing. Before when he said these things about a year ago, this was around the times when, he was still in a place where he could still afford things, okay? He was obviously in a place where things wasn't too bad financially, even though, from what I remember, he had been, when it comes to his actual job itself in particular, I believe at the time he had then potentially got demoted down from the role he was in. I don't know if the word is demoted or more restricted. I'm not too sure, but either way though, I know he ended up pretty much being put in a position where he was given a pay cut from what I remember. Okay, I could be wrong, but that's what I remember. And this was due to the fact that when he was on the show, his job was watching the show, and they were like, yeah, this isn't looking good for him. And therefore this affected his work life. And as we know, it also affected his mental health as well. But also at the same time, we also know that he's not the only person that has had his mental health affected by being on the show. I mean, right now, we are commonly seeing the spiral, the downfall of Statler. The woman cannot stop posting on a daily basis about TLC, about Dempsey. It is absolutely draining. It's like, woman, just stop. Take a break. Have a Kit Kat. Have a break or something. But she's going on and on and on. Clearly because she's obviously still feeling some type of way of how her relationship went down with Dempsey, but also most importantly with how TLC or Sharp Entertainment had an involvement in it as well, which obviously shows us that when it comes to treating people correctly, that is something that they do not do properly, and therefore some people do walk away with mental health being a factor going forward as a downhill thing, which is so sad. Now, with that being said, Let's move on to the next post itself in particular. He does finish here by saying, hey, person from Sharp that loves pizza and watches all my posts, tell your leadership that a private acknowledgement and an apology would go a very long way with me, but I want it from leadership, not a worker bee. I know that there is a head risk won't allow them to do it, but I'm putting the olive branch out there. I'm gonna lie to you, if I was in this position, hell no would I be put. I could care less for an apology at this point. I asked you to do one simple thing. I asked you to just contact my employees and tell them that you did editing for entertainment purposes. And the crazy thing about it, if they had did that, who knows, maybe Riley would have been back for another season. And also on top of that, if they had did that, we probably wouldn't even know none of this information anyway, because that wouldn't have been neat, because it would have obviously put him in a good light with his workplace, and therefore he wouldn't be in a position where he's now feeling as if, or no, not feeling, but now he has to sell things that he has obviously worked for, which is so sad, purely so therefore the next 3 months of payments of more can obviously be met. That is a very, very, very terrible position to put someone in. But I will say this though, I give credit where credit is due. The fact that he's gone out there to sell things, rather than to go out there and make a GoFundMe, I hella respect it. But to be honest with you, I do wonder though, because he was portrayed more in the negative light on TLC or 90 Day Fiancé, I do wonder though, if he had made a GoFundMe expressing his pure honesty, I do wonder if people would have actually given it to him, because thus far, I think the American customers never really get much out of it. I'll say that much. But other people who are portrayed in a innocent light on the show obviously get the GoFundMes, and some of them do end up getting that money. Let's just keep that a buck. But some people aren't looking for handouts. Some people are willing to do what they got to do, and sometimes sacrificing. If that's what you got to do to make me send, then they will do what is necessary. And that's why, for me personally, I respect the fact that he's gone down that way. But also at the same time, I respect the fact that he's not necessarily looking for them to, give him money or anything like that. He's just saying, listen, why can't you guys? Why didn't you just do the right thing? Maybe if they did it now and they wrote that, maybe it would make a difference. I don't know. But for someone's job to be pretty much ruined in some type of format, it's just hella sad. But here's the thing though. He spoke about what we saw on the show was not the true story. Well, it turns out that when it comes to this content creator himself in particular, Duke of Orleans, he has some very interesting information to share. Now, naturally, I would play the video and let him say what he's got to say, but I ain't gonna lie to you, and no disrespect to the boy Duke, but the boy, he talks way too slow. So therefore, I'm gonna tell you what he said, okay? He says that he's got a source very close to him, a very credible source, who has told him that that Violet happened to have had another man in Vietnam around the same time Riley was there. So in fact, he says that Violet would go and spend time with her other man during the daytime and then return in the evening to then spend the rest of the time with Riley, or at least return whenever filming was about. Well, interesting. So the whole time these two were filming, guess what? Violet had a whole other man in Vietnam there for her too. At least that's what is being said here by Duke of Orleans, from a source that he says that has told him this information, which is quite interesting, okay? But also, on top of that, let's read exactly what has been said here by Riley in the caption itself in particular. He says, yeah, but I was wrong for questioning her and being on edge. Because what was on the show was the full truth, and I'm the whole problem instead of the one that should have responded more maturely and not responded at all. I'm going to assume that was sarcasm, but let's continue. By the way, if I could have just went back home, I would the F have. If you're watching it on TV, then I'm obliged to complete filming. Ain't no stopping once they start. I signed it and I have to live with my decision, and don't act like I don't have a right to complain about the lack of support and the unfair editing. And to be fair, that unfair editing continues to get worse and worse and worse per season, because let's be real, I would say since probably the season before Riley was on it, from that season till now, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it real. The editing has gotten worse upon worse upon worse because every single season we are not getting a fair balance of these couple storylines. We are literally getting the good and the bad person, and then that's it, which is so boring and so flat. I really wish they could open their eyes and change the formula of what they are giving us, because the formula of what they are giving us just is not good enough anymore. And to be fair, it never was. It's taking away realistic storylines. A realistic storyline is that you will have moments where one person in a relationship will be the bad guy, will be doing the most. But then sometimes that person will also be doing good things too. And then the other person sometimes will also then end up doing too much of the bad things and then also had good moments. And that's what makes a balance of a relationship sometimes, right? And it'd be nice if we could see that in these storylines where we see that they are both got their errors and we can see if they're able to work it. And therefore, when we are given our own opinions, we can give opinions on relationships that actually has a potential of something. Because most of the time, whenever I'm watching this show, honestly, I cannot remember the last time I did a review, right, of a season where I did not call someone a narcissist. Because they always give us this perception that somebody has to be a narcissist in a relationship while other one has to be the baby. Like, yo, that's not realistic. Not everybody has that life. Some people do go through that type of relationships, but a lot of us don't go through those type of relationships. Where is the balance? Instead of you giving us freaking gibberish, copy and paste every bloody season. It is absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious, okay? Which is not cool to the slice itself in particular. But either way though, let me know your thoughts. As far as I'm concerned, like I said before, writers got a whole bigger heart than me, because I promise you now, if it was me personally, and it'd been 2 years from now, there is no way I'd be putting out an olive branch for nobody. F that. You done me wrong, so you know what? Piss off. With that being said though, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.